Welcome to the Important Questions Podcast, the only podcast that rallies around the family with a pocket full of shells. My name's Dave, and I'm here with some very angry, raging acolytes of knowledge, Scott, Smitty, and Rico.
It was the whitest fucking reading of those lyrics I've ever heard, ever.
I can go whiter.
You probably
want me to
go
go
whiter.
I would like to
Go
hear
whiter. Go whiter.
Please.
Welcome to the Important Questions Podcast, the only podcast that rallies around the family with a pocket full of shells. My name is Dave, and I'm here with three very angry and rage-inducing acolytes of knowledge, Scott, Smitty, and Rico.
Sometimes those who work forces are the same who burn crosses.
That's fantastic.
I like
you
that your
guys
shoulders were like in your ears when you said that, Dave.
Smitty went straight on like Futurama character for a second there.
Good stuff.
In the spirit of today's rage-filled episode, and this is totally not on purpose. I had that intro written for the whole week, but I just found out that Rico has some sort of rant in his question, and today's mid-show is also rant. So a lot of rage-inducing stuff this morning.
We're gonna get mad.
We're gonna get real mad. But before we could jump into the shit,
I'm sorry.
Before we could jump into the shit that we have going on today, we have a couple of quick things that we need to get out of the way. Number one, first and foremost, if you've listened to episode 20 of the show, you know that we are good friends with a Canadian fella named Ben. And Ben, happy fucking birthday, dude.
Happy birthday.
Hey, happy birthday, Ben.
Told you I was going to shout you out, and this is it. And the second thing we have to get out of the way is the first ever Important Questions Podcast giveaway.
Oh, shit.
That's right, boys.
He's gone drunk with power already.
I'm delighted.
That's pretty good.
I promise not to go down the shock jock route, but we finally pay for the platform we record on, and this soundboard's here to stay.
Yeah, and we also just wished a listener happy birthday, and constantly are begging people to call in. So I think we're slipping dangerously close to that radio show.
We're like 85% of the way there.
Well, that call-in, Scott, that leads us right into our giveaway here. We are recording a bonus episode for Halloween. Halloween is the last Tuesday of the month, and that's the bonus episode week. Now, a lot of you I've encouraged from time to time to donate as little as $1 to the show through Patreon to receive bonus content. And while 7 people graciously agreed to say, yeah, okay, there's roughly about 70 or so people based off of our download numbers that said no. So I don't know if that's just like you don't know if it's worth it or whatnot, but here's your chance to get a piece of bonus episode history for free. If you write into the show, text 708-433-9153 with your question, you get 1 entry. If you call into the show, 708-433-9153, and leave a voicemail with your question sometime between now and Halloween, you will get 2 entries to get a bonus episode. So if you're already donating to the show, thanks. Continue to write in and call in.
When is this episode going out? The day before Halloween?
You're right.
On the 24th. We got 7 days. That's 1 week.
All right.
What's the prize?
You get next week's bonus episode for free.
Oh, okay.
Sad. would
One
it
lucky
be
person
if nobody
is going to get next week's bonus episode for free. Assuming someone
Neato.
does this.
We're gonna have to like fucking fake a voice and call in ourselves so we can like drum up more. Be like, it looks like we have a winner, and it's just us.
Scott, you get this week's episode free.
If nobody calls in on time, we should just give it to the first person who calls in or writes in after Halloween.
All right, that works.
We don't get a
Little
write
fa-
until like Thanksgiving.
A little fail safe just in case this doesn't work, but that's what I want to propose to you boys, and also the listeners who I also assume are you boys. Call into the show, write into the show with your questions in the next week, and you have a chance to get this this month's bonus episode absolutely free of charge. I will email it to whatever sort of spam email that you have to collect your Bed Bath & Beyond coupons and the rest. That way you don't have to give away your real name or whatever the fuck. Dave's not going to stalk you or anything, but I will need your email address to send that episode. All right. That has been the first ever Important Questions podcast giveaway.
Your face just went deadpan for a hot sec. Just in the back of
What the fuck?
Boys, in the spirit of Halloween, we do have a listener question. I have been saving listener questions for the purpose of a listener-oriented episode. However, this one is Halloween related, and because we're getting so close, I want to go ahead and ask it today. And also, I don't think he'll mind because he's Bo. Hey, Bo.
Hi,
Hey,
Bo.
Bo, what's happening?
Who dat?
What's going on? Bo asks, what is the best Halloween candy to get? Also, why do some people hand out toothbrushes, pencils, and other crap that no kid or adult would ever want? I remember as a kid, I got a ruler from a house that wasn't even 12 inches. It was around 5 to 6 inches. It went straight into the trash.
Something about it
For
potentially being 5 inches instead of 6 just feels great.
Five.
That's
is the,
infuriating.
it's the weird part
Yeah.
for me.
Do you need to measure something less than 5 inches? Have I got the tool for you?
The kids will want this.
Now, did they make it like that, or did the guy break it off on accident? He goes, "It's got a couple of uses."
Someone has 1 to 5 and someone else has 6 to 12.
You put it together.
They measure 1 inch and they're like, damn, this is 7 inches.
Stupid. First of all, if I was an adult going around and they gave me like an extra toothbrush, I'd be like, well, now I don't have to go to Walmart and get a travel one whenever I need to go on a work trip or something. So that's dope. Or you keep them for guests that come over.
That's true.
Hey, that's actually a fair fucking point.
Yeah.
Does a kid care about that though?
Fuck no. Kids don't
Absolutely
give a
not.
shit.
That's the house you don't go to next year.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I even think there's like some levels of candy that historically, when I'm thinking back to my own Halloween trick-or-treating days, I very rarely ate Tootsie Rolls or Smarties. They mostly went in the trash.
I agree. I
I
was
like Smarties, but Tootsie Rolls are kind of eh.
when I did get Halloween candy, I wanted straight up chocolate, whether that's M&M's, Hershey's, Crunch, 100 grand bars, you name it. As long as I had chocolate, it was definitely like the higher up in the rotation. Now, when you get closer to like the gummy, the sweet tarts, the Sour Patch Kids, that stuff, the Twizzlers, I'm like, I gotta trade that shit. Let's get that out of here.
You guys ever get like the unlabeled candy? Like there was like a peanut butter candy that would come in either a plain black or a plain orange wrapper.
Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
Those always went in the trash too.
for sure.
Or you get the like the taffy that were in like a similar like paper.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
just
Some-
like wrapped in wax paper, and that's it.
Like somebody went on vacation somewhere and got saltwater taffy and then forgot to get enough Halloween candy. And so they broke that out and they're just giving that out to kids.
Or like Bitto honey.
Yeah.
That was always pretty fucking gross. My top was probably the Reese's Cup and the Kit Kat. Those two are always top of my list.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I like growing up, I liked a lot of like really sour candies. So like Warheads or like Sour Patch Kids, that sort of stuff. Like as I've gotten older, I've definitely moved into like the chocolate territory. So like you said, Dave, Reese's, Kit Kat bars. I like Snickers occasionally. Not a big fan of like caramel though. So like Milky Ways, I tend to stay away from. The kind of candy that I never in my life liked though, I had them a couple times as a kid, and even then I was like struggling to eat them. Are the candy apple suckers?
Oh,
You know-
dude, those things kick fucking dick.
You toss
They were
those-
good, but like as a kid, I was still afraid to break my teeth on them, like because they're so you bite down on them once, and your teeth are just like glued together.
That part's true, but being like the sour lover that you were as a kid, like the apple part of that sucker is like delightfully tart.
Oh, it's bomb! It rules.
The one candy that wasn't chocolate that I did keep was Jolly Ranchers, especially the blue
yeah.
raspberry.
Hell
Mm.
yeah.
I was a watermelon rancher
Yeah, that's
person
a
myself.
watermelon rancher. I don't got to take them all to harvest this season.
There was I don't remember what they're called, but they were like little like sweet. They had like the texture of like sweet tarts. They're little bones, like skulls and ribs and
Oh, yeah.
like
Oh
hands
yeah.
and stuff. And I loved those. Those are really good. I don't know what
Those
they're
are
actually
solid.
called though.
I remember.
I
there
also
was-
like the sweet tart equivalent to a sour candy was the shock tart, and I don't even know if they make those anymore. I don't see those.
Yeah,
Those
I don't
things
see
are
very
amazing.
often.
I remember the one person. It like our hometown was pretty small. What would you say when we were kids? Like 5,000 something people, something around there.
Yeah.
So not like the smallest town, but still not like super huge. And I remember there was only like 3 people that would religiously buy full size candy bars.
I was just gonna bring that up. Like I couldn't. It was never consistent where
Yeah.
you could get the full size.
I remember there was like one house kind of not too far from where Dave's childhood home was, and then another one close to where our high school was. So like all the way the fuck across town if you're a kid trying to like hit up every house in 2 hours, like totally opposite sides of town, but
Mhm.
still went for it.
Good on you, man.
Dude,
I love Halloween. Halloween's awesome.
It is
Halloween
pretty fun.
McDonald's when I was a kid, just the whole vibe that they had when you had like you get a Happy Meal that comes in a fucking trick or treat bucket, and then they've got like the little coupons.
Oh
and
yeah.
something around, I don't know what it was, but something about Halloween themed McDonald's was dope when I was a kid.
When I was like really little, my brother and I would go trick or treating, and like my mom would take us around. My mom would make our costumes. Like we were like very young, and she used to do like sewing and stuff. I remember one year my brother dressed up as a carton of French fries from like McDonald's.
It's awesome.
And so like she made the costume for him, and we went to the local McDonald's and they gave him like a free thing of French fries.
That's so
Were you
cool.
something
Oh,
thematically
yeah.
connected? Were you like a burger?
I was I don't remember what I was that year. I remember like a variety of the costumes I did, but I don't specifically remember.
What was
Pikachu, probably.
what was the worst thing you guys ever were for Halloween? Like just something you didn't want to be, and you're like either your parents made you be it, or just after the fact, like after you bought the costume or ordered it out of one of those magazines, you're like, this thing sucks.
I was our family was very poor, and there was one year that I could tell looking back that we were much more poor than the other years. And there was a local restaurant in our town that both of my siblings worked at. And for those of you who don't know, there is a very large man outside of that restaurant that holds a very large space machine. If you guys know what I'm talking about.
I do.
But anyways, there was a year that my mom just gave me a T-shirt and a hat of that establishment and said, "Look, you're an employee of that establishment. Now
my
go
God.
trick or treat."
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
I like it.
I remember one year I dressed up as the large man, and it was literally just like some clothes that we got from like Goodwill that we spray painted certain colors. And then for the helmet, it was like a plastic like a plastic like planting pot, and they cut like a hole in the front so I could have my face
Hell
stick
yeah.
through.
Dude,
And
if
it
you
like
got
my
pics,
dad like spray painted it silver.
I want to see those pics if you got them.
I'm sure my mom's got some somewhere. I should ask her.
Rico, how about you?
Nothing stands out as like something that I didn't want to be. Honestly. Yeah.
You're
I don't know.
lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real.
I'm sure there's something. If I had like pictures from back then, I'm sure there's something. But for the candy, it's mostly same as you, Scott, chocolate, but some sour mixed in as well.
I remember sorting through those magazines. Did you guys always get those like a couple months before Halloween that had like all the different costumes and stuff in there?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And like they totally robbed you because you'd order the costume and it would like show it with like a ninja costume, and then it would show like the kid with like throwing stars on his belt, and he'd have like 2 swords, and you'd get the costume and it would say like weapons not included. You're like, ah shit. So they swindled me. But one year my mom made me not just like she physically made it because my dad did, but my mom forced me to be a fucking garbage can for Halloween. And we had like an old rubber one. She made my dad cut out the bottom part, and then he made a harness out of duct tape. And then I had to I wore the garbage can like a basically like a barrel that we were joking about in one of the previous episodes.
Oh yeah.
And then
like a poor person.
yes, and then the lid they made into like a stupid. They like fitted it to a hat, and my dad used that like insulating foam and spray painted it like some fluorescent color. So it's supposed to be like a radioactive garbage can. Because my mom saw it, I'm like, I don't know, some stupid fucking magazine. I'm like, I don't want to be this. I'm supposed to go with my friends, and we're going to be running through the neighborhoods to go get as much candy as possible, and I'm in a fucking garbage can.
Mom, I'm 14.
Yeah.
It would be like you and your friends. It'd be like you've got one kid in the Scream mask, one kid dressed up as Texas Chainsaw Massacre kid, and then you as a garbage can.
Yeah, I actually think one of them was the Scream mask, but it was like the one that was like so well made that you could like squeeze the bulb and like blood would like circulate through the through the
Oh
face.
yeah.
Yeah, my
What was that
duct
one
tape
year?
harness broke, so I have like half of a trash can falling off me, and I'm like trying to carry it, and then the like the little parts of it, like it wasn't like completely smooth on the bottom, so it would like dig into my leg. I'm like, I don't want to do this. What are you trying to tell me when you the fact that I'm going to be a garbage can? What are you trying to say?
You're radioactive trash.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you got a lot of houses that asked, "What are you supposed to be?"
Yeah, I'm the middle child in my family. It's hot. It's hot trash.
Your parents just like physically and mentally like harmed you with that one
Yeah,
decision to
I
make
don't-
you a garbage kid.
I don't remember my dad even asking me like, "Is this something you want to do?" It's just my mom's like, "Nope, this is what you're gonna be." I'm like, "I want to be Sub-Zero from Mortal
Come here,
Kombat."
garbage boy.
Yeah. People
I was
kept
always
throwing
jealous of the
food at me.
kids who like my parents growing up, they never wanted me to dress up as anything like bloody or scary, which is like fair. Like elementary school kids probably shouldn't be dressing up as like a fucking serial killer or whatever. But like they made our costumes up until the end of elementary school, so it always had to be something homemade. And like I never got to buy like a ready-made costume, which on reflection is like it was a good bonding experience for me and my parents. But on the other hand, it's like, fuck, I wanted to dress up as something scary at one point.
Mhm.
Never got to.
Still can, Smitty.
Yeah. Like you'd see like in elementary school, you see kids who like dressed up as like Jason or like Freddy Krueger and stuff. And so somebody like 8 years old dressed up in a Jason mask is kind of odd.
Yeah, but to be fair, there's also like 30 people walking around with the same exact costume, so there's nothing special
That's
about them at
true.
that point. So
Yeah.
I like.
I did get a.
Oh,
Go ahead.
God.
Scott, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna like kind of change it just a tiny bit. So if you're still on topic, I don't want to take over.
Oh, I'm still on topic, so
Well, mine was just in reference to like now making costumes as an adult. Like if you get invited to a last minute Halloween party, there was one year I grabbed a case of Dos Equis and I just put on a blazer and had a name tag that said "Hello, my name is," and I just put "Most Interesting Man," and I just spray painted my beard and my hair gray, and I just walked around with
Nice.
an open beer, and people were like, "That's sick." I'm like, I bought
Super
5-cent
easy.
hairspray
Nice.
and a case of beer.
I genuinely enjoy, and this is probably big in the last few years, and I've seen this a couple times, including last year in my neighborhood. Those inflatable T-Rex costumes are
Yes.
so fucking good.
Yep.
Yeah, they are. Those
I love
rule.
them so much.
Dude, one
I-
year when they first started doing those inflatable costumes, I had it was the one where like they had like the little legs that come off the side, and it was a bull that was like bucking or whatever. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever until my fucking batteries on the fan died like halfway through trick or treating, and I'm just like walking around with a deflated costume.
I'm pretty sure I have a video from when I went bowling once and someone, girl wore the T-Rex outfit and bowled in it. It was pretty funny.
That sounds awesome.
hmm
Yeah, there's some modern traditions like that I really like. I also really enjoy the 40-foot tall skeletons that some houses have these days.
I love those so much. That's my
They're
favorite
amazing.
decor. I want to
I-
buy one so bad.
I
They're
just drove
expensive,
through our
though.
hometown and there's one on like one of the main streets and I thought it was pretty cool. I'd never seen that before.
Yeah,
Some
we
people
have
keep them
one
up all
couple
year
streets over.
and like dress them up for different holidays and things instead of having
That's
to take them
amazing.
down.
That's fucking amazing. I love that.
I like that they just have to get like a, 40-foot ladder to put a Santa hat on top of the skeleton.
It's
awesome.
better
I
than
love
taking
it.
it down and having to put it in the back of the garage again.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally.
It's probably like
It's the entire shed.
20,000 parts, and it probably is so heavy to put up.
It's 206 individual bones. You have to. The instructions are like, and the shoulder bone's connected to the arm bone.
600
But not how to
bolts
actually
and
put it together.
washers and shit that you have to keep track of.
Ligaments sold separately.
It's all IKEA, so it's just pictures
And wooden dowels.
and wooden dolls. Oh, shit. Bo, are you satisfied? Thanks, Bo.
Stupid.
For real though, Halloween's like my favorite season. I love Halloween so much.
I'll admit, like, I'm really, I like Halloween. I do, but just the entire fall season, I fucking love the colors, man. I love
Oh, yeah.
pumpkins
Cool
and shit like
air.
that. Like we have like 6 pumpkins in front of our house, like the white ones, the orange ones, the green ones that are covered in warts. I fucking love the look.
This is like an anti-rant because like fall is so fun. Like because I wish so like they have the Christmas time season. I wish they did something a little bit more for Halloween to like extend it some because I love the whole the whole harvest season. I love watching scary movies. I love seeing everybody dress up their yards and like the kids get so excited for like Halloween crafts and things. It's just like that's my shit. I love it. I've been buying. So this year I've bought a couple of like patterned like Hawaiian shirts because I'm an art teacher, so I can get away with wearing like loud shirts now. And I've got 2 that have like Halloween patterns on them. And like I get so excited to wear them now. Like one of them has like a bunch of like jack-o'-lanterns on it, and the other one has like cartoon skulls. And like nobody says anything, but I'm just like, this is an awesome shirt. I love this shirt so much.
No one's saying anything, but I know they know.
Yeah.
Those kids notice.
Can you guys believe it's fall?
I certainly
believe
can.
it.
What's next? Winter?
We just carved pumpkins last night with my son for the first time. That was pretty cool.
Oh hell
He did
yeah!
he didn't really do it. Stuck his
gonna
hand in
ask,
for
what-
like
what
half
did he
a
do?
second. He pulled it right back out.
Oh,
Yeah, he tried.
Here's
a few
the knife,
times,
son.
but
Go
just-
ahead.
nope. Yeah. He didn't really understand that part, but
I do remember like having every year when we would carve them, you really had to like work yourself up to get like your first handful in there. Because like the first time your hand touches the side of it, you're like, oh god, it's all gross and it's sticky and then after you're like, fuck it, and it's like jumping into a cold pool for the first time.
hmm
my wife
I've-
is still like that. She doesn't like it.
I've literally carved jack-o'-lanterns every year since I was old enough to carve jack-o'-lanterns. So like, I don't know, since I was like 7 or 8. It's just like that is the one. Like even if I'm just getting lazy for a Halloween season, like that is the one thing I still do because like that's my favorite thing. I love carving jack-o'-lanterns. It's so fun.
You roast the seeds.
Sometimes, not every time. There have been a lot of times where like I'll gather them all up and like I'll start to pick them out of the guts, and then like halfway through picking them out, I'm just like, this is way too much work for a snack. I'm not really gonna enjoy that much.
Pumpkin seeds are not that good to chew on. They're like way too chewy.
I'll buy
I
them from the
disagree.
gas
They're-
station.
They're
but,
fucking
like,
bomb.
yeah, I don't. It's not worth.
They
the
are a lot of
effort.
work. They are a lot of work.
I went through a phase where I was like, I'm not going to do sunflower seeds because pumpkin seeds are so much cooler, and you don't have to shell them, and then you just sit there and you chew and chew and chew and chew.
Mhm.
It's like, all right, fuck this.
All right.
Cool.
Are we collectively
Shit.
warm?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
I'm hot.
Well, Rico, we said we're gonna put you adjacent to mid show. That way we can have adjacent rants. So let's go with Scott.
Okay. Got a little bit of background with my question this week. Have y'all seen The Wizard of Oz?
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I would hope so. Is that a movie you guys could safely say that like everybody has seen at least once, maybe?
Probably not.
Judging by the tone in your question, no.
I'm just curious. I feel like that's a movie everybody's seen. I don't know if I've ever met anybody that hasn't seen the original.
No,
I don't
I'm
really
pretty sure
ask.
yes.
That's
If
true.
they've not seen it, they're at least aware of it because it's just so deep into our pop culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part's true.
So I was thinking about the end of that movie, and I don't want to spoil anything for those of you that may not have seen it. Um,
This 110-year-old movie. Spoilers.
So at the end of the movie, or the whole point of it is obviously Dorothy, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion go up to the wizard and make wishes, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, the wizard, you find out, is not a real wizard and gives them some bullshit prizes and then explains, like, well, you had courage all along and you always had brains and you always had a heart, shit like that. So at the end, I'm going to break down what the wizard actually gave them. And my important question is, who did the wizard fuck over the hardest? So
Okay.
let's see here. The Scarecrow goes to the wizard and asks for a brain. But the wizard pulls out from a pile of identical scrolls. He pulls one of them out of the pile, unwraps it, opens it up, and says, Scarecrow, I give you the honorary degree of a THD, which is the Doctor of Thinkology. Okay.
Okay.
Again, it came from a pile where like three of them were super identical. So that's not specific to the Scarecrow. The Cowardly Lion got a medal that says courage and then was welcomed as an honorary member of the Legion of Courage, according to the wizard. And then Tin Man got a Flavor Flav looking ass necklace that's a clock inside of a heart. And I don't even know if that thing was wound. I don't know if it even had batteries, if it worked. But that's what he got. And then Dorothy got to go home. So who got fucked the
Scarecrow.
hardest?
Scarecrow, definitely.
Think so?
Yeah. Oh, 100%, man.
A
Let's hear
bullshit
it.
degree from a non-accredited university.
And like the other, like, so first of all, the lion wanted something that wasn't tangible. He wanted courage. So, I mean, to give him something that's not tangible in the first place is on par with what he wanted. The Tin Man got something tangible in the form of his clock inside of a fake ass heart. The Scarecrow got dick, man. He got a piece of paper, like he wanted a brain. He didn't get anything brain adjacent at all. So I gotta go Scarecrow.
Yep. No, he got a Doctor of Thinkology, bro.
Yeah,
From
how much do
where?
you think that
From
probably
fucking
cost?
where?
From the wizard. I don't know. I don't know if that holds an accreditation in Oz.
Probably
I don't-
still like 200 grand.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah.
Doctorate, right?
I
That's
don't
like 8 years of work condensed into a 2-hour movie. So I guess that is pretty impressive.
know. 2
Yeah.
hours. Is that really a 2-hour movie?
Probably not. It's probably 90 minutes.
I was going to say, because I
Yeah.
feel like 2 hours is a long time for, especially something that back then, I think, when was that made? Like 40s or 30s?
I think it was
39.
39.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, 2 hours would be a long, that's a long movie.
Oh, it was
An hour
39 on the
42.
head. It's in 1 hour and 52 minutes. So it's actually pretty close.
Oh, hot
Damn.
damn.
I do remember the beginning of the movie because I watched it in the last like 10 years. And before they go into like, ooh, the whole movie's in color now. The
Mhm.
beginning part of the movie drags.
Oh yeah,
It's not interesting or exciting in the least bit.
Yeah.
I mean, a tornado happens, but
Yeah.
it's not that exciting.
And then ooh, midgets.
You know what's
How-
You know what's bullshit is
How
like
exotic.
at the end she wakes up, so the entire thing was a dream. Why the fuck should we give a shit what happened in Oz? Because it wasn't even real.
I think
Hmm.
there's a connection because like the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion, don't they represent actual people in Dorothy's family?
Yeah, they like worked in her farm or something.
Yeah, right. And each one of them needed like courage, brains, and heart to do something. And I can't fucking remember what, but I think there was some sort of loose connection there.
Let me throw in another thing here. Speaking of Dorothy, all of them went to the wizard with wishes. Dorothy's wish never got answered by the wizard. He's like, actually, I got to catch this hot air balloon and I got to get the fuck out of here. It was Glenda who gave Dorothy the ability to go home, not the wizard. The wizard didn't have fucking shit to do with any of that.
Deferment still counts. So
I don't think he even. I think basically at this point he's like, "Oh, I gave you some friends and you got here, but you could have gone home like 45 minutes ago if you wanted."
Also, he was a snake oil fucking scam artist.
Yeah, that's true.
Like he got to go away. He got to leave after like being an authoritarian dictator over the fucking Emerald City for how many years, and they just let him go.
The wizard also had a role in Dorothy's life prior to the whole Oz thing. I think he actually was like peddling some kind of bullshit thing and she ran into him. I thought.
I don't remember any of
fucking
this.
remember.
Like I thought the black and white stuff was solely about her and her dog, and I didn't know there were like extra like metaphorical characters.
Yeah, the witch was there too.
Well, I knew
Yeah,
that.
they were
Yeah.
all part of it.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe
been
they
a
just
hot
did-
minute since I've seen this.
Like I said, the beginning of it drags, and I don't think they do a good enough job connecting the dots at the beginning. Because I remember watching that a few times, even like again in the last 10 years. And you have to point out the fact that like, oh, like that's the same actor that played the Tin Man, but like they dressed him out so differently. It's like, oh, I guess they kind of look the same.
There's
Like,
like
would have never connected that was like Dorothy's uncle.
Yeah.
like the way they tell stories in movies has changed really dramatically from then to now. Another good example of that, this reminds me really heavily of like the end of the movie Psycho. Like audiences needed somebody at the end to come in and explain what happened in the movie. So like the last couple minutes of that movie is just somebody talking to the audience to be like, this is what happened and this is the resolution. Because audience were stupid.
Even as
I've never seen that. That sounds terrible.
yeah,
The rest of the movie's perfect, but you can skip the last couple minutes.
as a kid,
What if
I
I
thought
don't
the
get it?
Wizard of Oz was actually like well done. Obviously, I was a kid that didn't develop taste, but like I recognized like some of Dorothy's family were the people in the movie, and like I knew it was a dream and shit like that. And I was like, oh, okay. I haven't watched it necessarily as an adult, and to add on to that, I haven't watched it as a cynical asshole. Like I feel like there's probably like a lot of good things that I could probably get a deeper understanding for some of the like the reasons why they chose like certain themes with the lion or whatever, or the scarecrow. But I also feel like now I just watch them like, well, this is stupid. Like watching a YouTube clip to find exactly what the wizard gave, like when he first answers the door, or they have like a doorkeeper. I'm like, that's the same fucking guy as the wizard. And like that shit I didn't recognize when I was a kid. I was like, it's the same fucking dude. Is there only
I
one
didn't
guy
know
that
that till
works
now.
here?
It's pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
Isn't there like a pretty well-known fact that like the stuff that they used to paint Tin Man ended up killing him, like the actual actor?
I don't think it
It's like
killed
I'm-
him. I
I
think
don't
it
know
got
about
I think they put
lead paint?
lead-based paint all over him.
because I think that myth was also mixed with one of the early James Bond movies where they painted a woman gold and she almost like died or something.
Oh yeah, because she like overheated or something.
They ended up doing it on MythBusters like 3 times, and I don't remember a single result of that.
Apparently, the actor that played Tin Man did go to the hospital. I don't know if he eventually succumbed to illness because of this, but he was painted with pure aluminum.
Oh
and,
shit!
Frequent lung ingestion
metal.
of aluminum sent Buddy Ebsen to the hospital.
It was the
he
late
had-
30s.
Yeah, he had problems with severe cramping in his hands, arms, and legs, and difficulty breathing.
God, damn.
Jesus, poor guy.
Remind me not to paint my entire body with aluminum.
Yeah, we put like a touch of
Gonna do that
aluminum in
this
our
afternoon.
deodorant. We start freaking out. This guy went. I almost said went to the hospital, but in the 30s, it's just a house with like 2 beds next to each other, and a guy that comes in the room is like, "Yeah, you're." I don't know. I guess
They just sprayed him down
find
with a
out."
hose.
Yeah.
The leeches didn't work.
Give him more cigarettes.
We got to smoke the toxins out.
Like this was way before there were like proper health and safety for any sort of like studio stuff. Because like Judy Garland was on like amphetamines for that movie, and she was like in her mid-teens because like she was expected to stay like really skinny and also like work insanely long hours, like as a child actress, no less.
Yeah.
It's like it was fucked up. And
I
then
mean,
there's
have
also
things really gotten better? Alec
to
Baldwin
a
shot a
degree.
dude,
I
so
was just gonna say.
Well, it was a lady, and also he that was the
A lady.
armorer's fault, and the armor was non-union. So
I think there's a lot of people at fault there, but that's not the point of this question, and I don't really give a shit.
yeah. But the other myth that you hear about that movie is like you can see like one of the little people like had hung themselves in the background and it's like visible in one of the scenes. But
What?
that's like complete bullshit.
I thought they were
Holy
also
shit.
confused that was like an
Mhm.
ostrich or something, or like a peacock or some weird thing, and it like
Nah,
just goes back
I
up
don't
into the tree.
I heard that myth growing up and like I looked it up at some point. It's like that's bullshit.
I remember rewinding the VHS of it and trying to be like, I see something, I don't know what that is back there, and it definitely was not a munchkin hanging himself.
The Pink Floyd connection though is really popular too though with Dark Side of the Moon, which I've never done that, and we're probably past like that's even before our generation, but like that's a pretty well known pop culture thing about the movie too.
I've heard that, but I don't know exactly what it's referencing. Can you explain that?
It's like, and I've never done this, and I don't know it perfectly, but it's like if you start the Pink Floyd album Dark Side of the Moon at a specific time, it's like one of the lion roars at the beginning of the credits for like the logos of The Wizard of Oz. As you go through the movie, like certain lyrics will match up with what's happening on the screen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
hmm
When I was a kid, because of that movie, I thought munchkin was like actually one of those interchangeable words for little people. Like it was like one of, like it was like almost like a medical term, like, oh, like this guy's a munchkin.
Medical term.
It's like probably until I was like 6 or 7 years old, I was like, oh, I don't think that was actually a thing.
Nope, and
Is
now
that-
it's interchangeable with fucking donut holes.
Should bring it back.
a munchkin's just a small munch.
It's so
Fuck you.
stupid. Oh,
It took my brain a second to catch up to that, Scott.
Mm.
It was pretty good.
Thanks, man.
Mm-hmm.
Are you satisfied?
So would you say it was
Oh.
a scarecrow for sure? That Dave's the only one that gave a definitive answer.
Oh shit!
I think it's
that's right.
Scarecrow for sure. I mean-
Yeah.
I mean, the lion can
Okay.
steal valor with his fucking metal and get free
Yeah.
drinks at a bar,
Mhm.
and the Tin Man can keep time.
Hopefully,
I guess.
What if
I don't know.
what if the clock was fucking broke? I if you haven't seen it, I urge you just Google a picture of what this fucking clock looks like, because the thing's so stupid.
It's
I'm
like
gonna
on a
do it right
chain,
now.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's
like
on it's on a Flavor
yeah.
Flav chain. Like he's supposed to be wearing a giant clock necklace.
Yeah. He's gonna like be outside and rust in the rain, and somebody's just gonna loot it off of him.
I feel like they'd actually like walk back and be like, actually, I don't want this thing. That looks stupid. I don't.
Can I pawn this?
Yeah, I'm satisfied enough.
All right, Rico, we are now rant adjacent, so let's move into your question.
Okay. My question is, what are some common lies that we just kind of put up with or don't think about? My example being the kind of rant thing, sort of, is the lift handle and press button on gas pumps. Because usually you just have to take the pump out of the slot and just start pumping when it tells you to pump. Sometimes you have to press the button at some pumps, but I've like kind of grown so accustomed to just taking it out of the slot and just doing the thing. That
What?
yeah,
You have to select your grade of gasoline, though.
sometimes you don't.
Yeah,
Some
it
pumps
just,
you
it just
pull it out and
defaults
it
to like
knows.
they know you want 85 or 87 or whatever the fuck the
Yeah.
lowest is.
Yeah, when you pull it out, it like recognizes that.
Some of them don't even have multiple grades. Sometimes it'll just have the unleaded. That's it.
That part makes sense. But what if you pulled out the gas pump and it automatically selects fucking premium for you?
It's too good for my car.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Do
Sometimes
gas
you don't.
pumps really default to the cheapest unleaded if you don't select?
I'm talking about pumps that have like multiple, like one pump, one thing for each thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, like there's a
That's
nozzle
easy.
for each.
If it's like
Yeah, a nozzle. Thank you.
unless it's like a nozzle for diesel and a nozzle for only 85 or 87 unleaded.
Yeah, okay.
Right,
I haven't
yeah,
seen
that
a
part
gas
makes
station like
sense.
that in a long time.
Yeah,
yeah, neither have I.
I feel like now it's like one nozzle pumps all three, and then there's one for diesel.
yeah.
All the ones around me have like one for each, but anyway, some of them you have to press a button, some of them you just pull it out, some of them you have to lift a handle, but I haven't run into one where you actually have to lift the handle in a very long time, so I've just grown accustomed to like, yeah, you just pull it out and it works. So I went to one the other day and it said lift the handle and I was like, nah, that's fucking bullshit. And so I pulled it out and it wasn't working. And I still didn't even think about like lifting the handle because usually they're just like solid. I'll like try lifting the handle and it just fucking stuck there. It doesn't actually do anything.
Sure.
Even though it blatantly tells you to do it. So I pressed the button because it said press the button and the button didn't depress or like do anything when I pressed it. And I'm just like, well, what the fuck do I do here? Do I go to a different pump? And then finally I'm like, I guess I'll lift the handle. So I lifted the handle and it fucking lifted and it worked immediately. And I felt like an idiot, but I was like, I've been lied to this whole time that, you know, whatever. And yeah, so
It is
what are some other
bullshit
common
that there's like
situations?
not a universal like sequence of steps for any of this stuff. Like why is it all just a jumble? Like get on the fucking same page for Christ's sake.
Because we here in the United States believe in free market enterprise and don't like anything to be standardized across the board because you know we want to keep prices low. So some of them you have to lift the handle, some of them you don't.
Innovation.
It's true.
Innovation.
Shouldn't the best method win out though in that scenario?
That sounds
It's like
monopoly
a
to me.
Pepsi and Coke thing. Both of them are equally good, arguably, even though the Coke one is better.
I have seen to like, you know, help with your point. I've seen more of those gas pumps where it says lift the handle on handles that are not liftable, and that pisses me off so much. It's like, are you just fucking with me at this point? Like everybody that pulls up in the gas station, you have like the clerk that's looking up, like, watch him, he's gonna lift the handle. Just don't
Fucking idiot pulled it.
We put the wrong instructions on this on purpose as a joke.
I mean, if that brings a minimum wage worker a little bit of joy, then that's fucking nice.
Well, fuck yeah, because I've definitely been that guy, Rico, where I'm like, this gas pump doesn't work, so you get out and you drive to another one, and then you realize that you actually had to lift the handle, and you're like, oh, all right, I'm a giant asshole.
Mm-hmm.
I have an example. I think I don't know if this is a lie for everyone, but this is a lie for me. I recently had an interview for a internal position at my work, and my wife asked me if I was going to write the person that interviewed me a thank you email. My answer, of course, is going to be yes, because like I'm paranoid that I have to go through the motion of all these things. But I also sat on the other side of that for like 4 years. I interviewed people for jobs, and you're told that you have to like write this thank you letter and that like that's going to be the differentiating factor between you and someone else. But the fact of the matter is like your interview itself is what actually matters.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've had a ton of people that like interviewed and then wrote me a thank you letter and I was like, great, I wasn't going to go with you. Or like, great, I was already going to choose you. Like the thank you letter meant literally nothing to me. So
you think it might mean better if you have like two candidates where you're like, well, they're both equally qualified. They both presented themselves well. One person doesn't write one, and one person does follow it up and help summarize stuff. It's like, well, that person looks like a little bit more generous. They took the time. They paid attention. Like, would it ever like? It would probably be a better tiebreaker.
maybe if it ever came down to that, where there were like two candidates and I legitimately could not decide.
Yeah.
But at least for me, it never came down to that.
Yeah, I haven't interviewed a ton other people, but I've had instances where they wrote a letter and it like did not impact my decision at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've gone through like different phases of my life where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to write them a thank you letter, and then the other half of the time I just forget. And I've gotten jobs in both scenarios, so I don't know. It's like whatever. Like, did I stumble my way through that interview? Yes. Okay, not getting that one.
Yeah, right.
What if you dumpster an interview and then you send a thank you, and then they respond with like, "No way in hell are you getting this job, pal."
You should not have dressed up as a garbage can, idiot.
You didn't wear shoes to this interview.
I almost wonder if it's like better to like list your faults. Like if you're going to an interview and you know it was a dumpster fire, afterwards when you write up like your thank you and your summary, just be like, look, I recognize that this was not my best performance and you did not get to see the best of me. Like almost kind of like bring the humanity back to it. Like, would that, do you think that would be a good thing or a bad thing? Or again, like, what would that even matter?
I've literally done something similar to that. Not exactly like my nose is too big, I'm sorry, but it was more like in programming interviews where I couldn't, like, just barely couldn't get the solution, and it bothered me. So after the interview, I went and figured it out and emailed them like, hey, I realized what I was doing wrong. Here's my like updated solution to the problem. Still didn't get it, but they were like, the person who interviewed me, who, is not probably making an actual decision, got back to me and they're like, yeah, that's good. And then, didn't get it anyways, but,
there was a job I considered doing that too as well. And it was within the last 4 months, I think. I had flown back out for a camping trip with my family. And on the last day, we stayed out late together. And I had a flight at 4 a.m. So I had to get up really fucking early, drive to the airport, do that whole shit. And then I got home and I had an interview at like 12:30 in the afternoon. Which are, mind you, there was a 2-hour time difference because I went from Mountain Time to East Coast time. So it's like I woke up at like 2:30 in the morning on like 3 hours of sleep, and I had an interview at 12:30 Mountain Time in the afternoon. So like that interview, I knew when I was done, I was like, this whole thing is fucked. Like I did not answer any of these questions well. I totally bombed it. Like if I wrote it in email afterwards and said like, hey, just so you know, like this is the situation I was coming back to. You did not see the best of me. I'm pretty sure just going along with like the theme of like your email doesn't matter, it wouldn't have fucking mattered. But I wonder if it's just more humanizing to sum up the fact that like you're a better person than what they saw.
Yeah.
Probably a little situational, I'd say.
Yeah. But that's my answer.
I'm really
I'm struggling to think of anything.
I have been to a couple places, and this kind of is like a little bit of a callback to the lifting up the handle and making the joke that they did it on purpose. I've seen places where they put like a door on, and they'll put the push or the pull on the side that's like opposite from what you would normally do. Like I've seen one with a legitimate pull handle, and it says push, and I'm like, you're fucking with me here, and I don't know. Like I'm gonna have a stroke looking at this door because it's just like the single handle in the middle where you would think that you would just pull it towards you and it says push. It's an actual push door, but it's confusing as fuck.
Are you sure it just doesn't go both ways?
No, because I did try that because I was like, I want to know if I'm a dumbass or.
It's pretty nice when you get a door that could literally do like it could do it all.
Yeah.
Why don't more doors do that?
Like a what do you call those? The doors that keep
saloon
swinging.
Door?
Yeah, saloon door.
The hinge works both ways, man.
Yeah.
Saloon door. It doesn't fucking block out anything at all.
Just go over or under.
It's actually useless.
Yeah. Takes up the middle third of the doorway. Every public building should have saloon doors. Hospitals. Everything.
I'll have to make like the creaky like when it opens and then slaps shut so that everybody like snaps their head, turns to look, and who just came in the door. You think it's like a dusty ass cowboy, but it's actually like some dude with chest pain that needs to get to the emergency room.
It's the FedEx driver. Drop off a package.
This is again, I don't know if this necessarily is like a physical lie, but have we already talked about how tipping culture is bullshit?
Yes.
Yeah, we've gone into that.
Yes.
Okay. I've made a conscious decision in the last like month or so that the 20% thing is made up and it's fucking horseshit because 15 used to be really generous. So I'm consciously deciding to go back to 15. Even though most places default now with a tablet to 18 as the lowest option, but
most places
fucking horseshit.
Default it to 23, and then you have to click back to 20.
I see 20 as the default, but like as far as like the default selection screen, 18 is the lowest that I see, and then it's usually 20 and then 25.
There's got to be a tipping point here because like how long till the default gets to be like 25%, and then people are just gonna be like, okay, we're not tipping at all anymore.
Well, that's the thing. Like we've already accepted that like 20% is the standard tip, and I feel like we kind of need some sort of like, I'm not going to be the asshole that doesn't tip because I know people rely on that shit, but there is definitely a tipping point, and unless there's like some sort of counter movement that's going to push it back to 15, it's going to end up at 25.
Rico,
Well,
are you laughing
it
at
probably
the
won't.
tipping point?
I just want to see tipping point as well.
Yeah, Rico keeps laughing every time you guys say tipping point.
I feel like there's going to be a point though where
Tipping point?
What kind of point?
a tipping point, where the percentage gets so high, and then enough people just stop tipping altogether, and then I feel like that could potentially lead to these service workers getting a proper like wage instead of having to rely on tips.
There's no fucking chance.
You don't think so?
No.
Maybe it's
There's
just
not a goddamn chance in hell. They'll make them
wishful
independent
thinking.
contractors before they do that shit.
Ugh, man, the gig economy is so fucked up.
I guarantee you there's something like that in the fucking works, man. There's like a gig waiter or
Tipping
waitress program or like some shit like that where you could like go work at a restaurant as a gig as an independent contractor, file a 1099, and you're not owed shit.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, but like 1 week you pick up a shift at Texas Roadhouse. The next week you go to like a ma and pa restaurant that's like desperate for help. And you go up to them and you're like, what are your specials today? They're like, I don't fucking know, man. I don't know anything about this menu. I have no home. I have no loyalty to this company. I just go wherever the fuck I need to go.
Just Uber for gig workers. You just get you're a waiter or some sort of wait staff, and you just go to a bunch of different restaurants as they need wait staff.
That'd be weird. You go into a table at like, let's just stick with Texas Roadhouse. You scan a QR code. It pages some dude to get off of his fucking couch and drive to the restaurant, and he just walks in sweats. He's like, "Hey, my name's Jake. I'll be your waiter this evening." You put in.
I think you just need like one
It's enough
person
sense.
there because like I've already seen like a ton of restaurants where it's just like they put like a little tablet almost thing on your table. And you just place the order there, or it's like a QR code, and you have to do it all on your phone, and then they bring you your food. It's like you don't need a waiter there to like tell you the specials or actually know how anything works. You just need someone to bring a plate to a table.
Right, and I was thinking it would just be like the managers put the shift on the app, and then people just sign up for it and then attend.
Right.
I think
But like that's just the most miserable shit that I can think of at the moment.
if you just did the same thing, and instead of having a waiter, just have like a little train with like your food come out like in a big circle, just stops at your table. That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Let's eliminate
my
more
food on a
jobs because I
conveyor
like it
belt.
delivered by a train.
Like one of those
I'm here
sushi
for it.
carousel restaurants.
Yeah.
But every plate has like ribs or a burger or like a big thing of coleslaw or like at like a Texas pit barbecue place.
Yeah. It's just a train full of peanuts.
Just grab a
Loose
handful.
peanuts.
Yeah. Loose peanuts. That's the worst thing to put in your trick or treating stuff.
Like without the shell, just like the actual nut itself.
Oh. What if you
Yeah,
gave them like
Lou-
just the ones that you couldn't crack with your hands for some reason? So it's like you got half the peanut open, but that bottom part won't crack. You're like, oh, just give that to the kids.
Just thinking like you have like the big bucket of mixed nuts, but it's like 75% peanuts. And when the kids come, you just like give them all like a handful of loose nuts.
I love around this
Sweaty-ass
time
hands.
where you'll see pictures on the internet where people will have like silly things they're giving out, where it's like it'll have a bunch of bags of Sprite and be like, take one per child.
Yeah.
Or
I saw
the-
one recently too.
did you see the one recently where it was like a bucket and it said like one pierogi per child?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one. The pierogi one.
Fuck yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Pierogies kick ass.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I
Are you
got no
satisfied?
other lies. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at my tipping point with this question. We can move on.
Actually,
all
I
right,
think you
boys.
guys need to give at least
Satisfied.
23% more. after the fact, and then we can move on.
We're gonna move on.
Oh,
Let me pull up my rant and also play the theme.
Cool. Very nice.
Welcome to rant.
Hell yeah.
I love how that's called a theme.
I like the
That's
name of
the
the segment.
jingle.
Rant.
Yeah,
Not we're gonna rant. It's just rant.
it's just rant. This is the part of the show where
Let's
we rant. Boys, my rant today. Why the fuck do I have to know everything about the goddamn shirt I'm wearing? It's like I was out traveling this week and I bought a Denver Broncos hoodie. I don't actually like the Broncos, but it had their old logo on it. And I like the logo because it looks genuinely cool and it looks kind of classic. So I wore that when I was out on work travel. And a group of like 4 men came up to me while I was out in like a public setting and started asking me all these fucking questions because apparently the Broncos suck this year. So they came out to me and they're just like, "Do you think it's Jim McAfee's fault or do you think it's Jorge Domingo's fault? Whose fault do you think it is?" And I was just like, "Don't fucking talk to me." And it got me to thinking about like you see like the kids and whatnot where like people make like TikToks where they approach a kid wearing like a Nirvana shirt and they're like, "Name 4 fucking songs, you motherfucker." It's just
Who's the name of their bass player?
right. It's like
You
all
like
that
women?
fucking
Name a
shit. Like
woman.
I fucking hate the fact that like all of a sudden I'm like responsible for the goddamn logo. Like I'm the coach of the Denver Broncos because I donned a fucking hoodie.
What was your answer to them?
I think I just laughed and said like, "Yeah, you know."
I just like horses.
Do you think it's A or B? Yeah, you know.
Just like horses.
A little column A, a little column B, you know. Something
Oh,
really
I thought this was
wishy-washy.
Secretariat.
This is Seabiscuit.
I do see kids with like shirts very often. Even I see shirts by kids that they have no idea that they're even bands, and that, I mean, it's fine. Like
Yeah, who gives a
whatever. But it is kind of, I guess it's odd to like wear something that you don't even fundamentally understand what it is.
Kid walking around in a Cannibal Corpse t-shirt.
It was a Wu-Tang Clan shirt. I had a
Wu-Tang's
seventh
a
grader.
band?
Well, it's a hip hop group.
I thought it was a brand.
Well, that's what people probably think it is at this point because they're
Yeah.
so common. But he was wearing it was like an 11-year-old white kid wearing a Wu-Tang Clan shirt. And like, I wanted to go up to him and be like, "Oh, it's a really good group. I love their first album." And he'd probably just be like, "What? What are
Like,
you talking about?"
That's a different comment than like challenging them to the shirt. Be like, "Oh, Wu-Tang,
Right.
I like those guys." Like that's fundamentally different than like, "I bet you don't know shit about what you're wearing, asshole."
Yeah. Well, that's because I'm not a dickhead about it. Because I know most of these kids don't know what they're wearing. So I'm just not going to be a dickhead.
When you first brought this up, I thought you were talking about like the fucking instructions on how to properly launder your shirt. I'm like, what do you mean you have to know everything? I just fucking put a shirt on, I throw everything in the dryer or the washing machine on cold, and then I just throw it in the fucking dryer.
You
My
don't even
wife
have
does
to
laundry. I don't
split them up
touch that
anymore.
shit.
You just wash whites and colors together
Yeah, I
now.
do it all on cold. We're inclusive here.
Yeah.
Or like if I like, there's a ton of like different brands that have T-shirts, but I feel like for some reason it's sports and bands that like piss people off the most. Like if I wear a Dr. Pepper shirt, no one's gonna assume that I'm like the CEO of Dr. Pepper and I know their secret recipe.
Can you name
Or
all
like if
23
the-
flavors?
Right, like Lord forbid, like Dr. Pepper, Snapples, like their stock goes down, and like some guy approaches you, is like, "What do you think the board's doing to correct this action, huh, motherfucker?"
You're wearing a Snapple shirt and you're like, and somebody come up to you like, "Give me a random fact."
To be fair though, that's why I only
like
wear
Dr.
shirts of
Pepper.
like things that I really, really like. In fact, the only shirt that I actually get compliments on, the only fucking thing I ever wear is a Star Wars shirt that just says Star Wars. It says 1977. And every time I wear that shirt when I'm out in public, somebody's like, "That's a nice shirt." I'm like, Thanks man. Doesn't
Until they
really do-
fucking
so-
challenge you.
Yeah, do it. Do it. I dare you. I fucking dare you. I'm ready for it.
The challenging thing is super weird, but also I also don't think it's weird to like assume that if you're wearing a sports shirt or a band shirt that you dislike, like that you don't know what that is or don't like it. Because like
I
you
think-
paid for something that
Yeah.
supports them, right?
I guess kind of in a way. I guess maybe to an extent this is mostly just like I'm a stranger, you're a stranger, don't fucking talk to me. So maybe it's just me being a cynical asshole. Like if he made a comment on anything and it just so happened to be my shirt, I'd have the same response. Just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Those Levi jeans, motherfucker. Yeah. All right. I'm satisfied. Smitty?
Okay.
Okay.
My important question.
High energy.
High energy, yeah. My important question is: when was the last time some sort of like technological advancement wowed you, and is it possible to be wowed by technology anymore?
Yes. I know I mentioned it in another like episode, just kind of like a moment in passing or whatever, but I went to it was a Circle K gas station and they had a self-checkout, which first of all, self-checkouts at gas stations are like super strange to me still, but this one you didn't have to scan anything. You placed it on a mat and then it's like your total $6.94. Like,
The
how
Circle K in our town has one of those now, and
I'm like-
it's pretty cool actually.
Yeah, I'm like, how the fuck did you know I got a medium coffee and a bottle of water? Like, I didn't fucking scan anything, and it's the appropriate thing. So that blew my fucking mind when I first saw it.
I just used one of those for the first time like 3 weeks ago as well. And I was like, I genuinely did not know what it was. And I know you had talked about this previously, Scott.
Yeah.
But like that whole thing left my brain. And then when I realized what it was at the end, I was like, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah,
So that's pretty cool.
I've never seen one of these things in person or really even heard about it. I don't think. Is there like a camera looking at it or what?
I think there's a camera on top,
Okay.
but I don't know what else there is.
I mean, a camera would be enough, I guess.
I'm sure
Like, image detection and stuff. Is
maybe it's a mix
getting
of like
really
a
good.
camera and a scale, though.
Yeah, I think
be.
it's a scale at least, but still, that gets specific, especially a camera from up top. Like, how do you know? Like, I don't know. But how do you know the difference between like a bottle of Pepsi that's on sale 2 for $5 versus something else with like the same color cap or whatever that's not at the same price point?
I'm just thinking like you need a scale in there as well, and at least like some perception from what's going on at the bottom, because like otherwise like you'll fill up your coffee cup with like Snickers bars, which are arguably more expensive, and then try to check it out and then be like, this is a coffee cup, but it does not weigh as much as a cup of coffee will weigh.
I gotta try that.
You're
I gotta start
defying laws of physics.
putting stuff in big gulp cups. See what I can get away with.
The machine starts asking, "Why is your coffee so heavy?"
Put extra creamer in it. Trying to reason with the scale.
I feel like most of the technological advancements I've been impressed with lately have all been related to music. So like I guess the iPhone didn't really impress me too much, but I really didn't use it until like the 6th generation anyways. The iPod was like super fucking cool, and then more recently when like you could just get Spotify Premium and have every song ever made at your fingertips, like that was really fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. You can thank
But
pirates.
that's
for
not
that.
that's not really technology. That's just like a subscription program that impressed me.
Well, it's still like
I don't know.
technology in a certain sense, but like I would guarantee that Spotify is a response to people pirating music, and it's just like, okay, we're gonna get every single song, and you can just pay like $4 a month, and you can just have all of those songs.
Yeah, but Apple Music started that, and at least from my knowledge, like I remember Apple Music was a thing, and they're like, "Hey, remember how you used to be able to take any song off any CD that you've ever owned and put it on your iPod?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then Apple goes, "Yeah, fuck you, we're getting rid of that, and you have to subscribe, and you have to do this." And I'm like, "Okay, that's horse shit." And then Spotify's like, "Hey, man, we do the same thing as Apple Music, except we're not dickheads," and I've been a subscriber ever since.
You could still go that route if you choose. Like my parents still have iPod Classics, which are the ones that hold like 200 and something gigs of data. So
Yeah, but I
they'll
don't
still
want
go
to.
that route.
I don't want to like a separate device, and I want it to go in the same folder as all my other music.
I don't even want a folder. I just want to click a button.
Oh, I want to put it on my Spotify. Basically, I want to rip songs off old CDs and put on my Spotify.
Yeah, I get that.
I do have.
Most-
Sorry, Rico.
Go ahead.
Nope.
No, go ahead, Scott.
Nope.
It's okay.
Nope.
Okay. The most recent thing, I'll be that guy, is ChatGPT, because like it was such a huge step up in terms of like usable AI, I guess, that anybody can use. Also, you mentioning like streaming services, Netflix, they're like generally their like tech is really I don't know, impressive. The fact that it like never goes down and it just works flawlessly all the time.
Mhm.
But also like the skipping intros feature was like super cool when it came out.
Okay.
Okay, like
That's cool.
pretty cool technologically. I'm sure it's like not that crazy under the hood of like what they're doing to detect that, but still pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. First two things that jumped out.
I still get blown away by some CGI stuff, and I think
Yeah.
like now it's because CGI is so prevalent. It's like, wow, that looks fake as fuck, and it's like super easy to almost have it like kind of turn you off to a movie. But the 2014 era Godzilla movie and like the sequels and stuff, I feel like the CGI in that is so good. I'm like, oh nope, I'm convinced, man. This is just, it's great shit.
I haven't seen the new Avatar, but I've seen like clips and stuff, and just what they do with water is like game changing, apparently.
It's pretty.
And is like impossible to tell. But again, I haven't seen the whole movie, so I don't know if like I've only seen clips, but it's pretty impressive.
For what it's worth, like ChatGPT did impress me too. I think it was, to me, I don't use it anything outside of like gimmicks. And I'm sure there's a lot bigger impacts like Rico to the field that you're in now. And I know for a fact that actually my company uses GPT for their own AI and machine learning and whatever the fuck that they're doing, but I'm just not connected to it. So my only connection to it was like, Smitty told me that you could write a Seinfeld scene. So it's just like, write a Seinfeld scene about this.
Or
and then I do like
a Frasier scene or whatever.
Yeah, I do like 3 or 4 of those, and then I'd ask it like 3 or 4 more questions, and then I'd shut it off, and I'd be like, "That was fun."
Yeah,
and like, so I mean, it is impressive what it is, but I don't use it to its potential.
So like anecdotally, I don't know. It goes through phases of like how like sometimes it gets less useful or whatever because they tweak it and stuff. But I will spend hours at work trying to figure something out, like banging my head against the wall, and then I'll realize, oh, I should try ChatGPT and see if it'll help. And 95% of the time, it like tells me what I've been doing wrong in like a very succinct way, and that's super nice.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I don't know why I don't use it more often because it like saves me a ton of time sometimes.
It's hubris.
Because then they're going to replace you with it.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. I think my brain is just kind of wired to just try and figure out the solution to the problem when, I could be using my brain power for more interesting things if I just got past that problem. So I don't know. It is pretty cool.
There's a lot of like medical advancements that I'll hear about that impress me a lot. Until I dig deeper into them and I realize that we're like still years away from like any of that shit. Like there was a Reddit article that was out within the last year that like the first ever person was like completely cured of HIV. It's like they have no HIV virus like left in them at all. And then you read about it and then you realize like, oh, this person also had like stage 4 lymphoma and they did this extremely experimental procedure and like it's not actually worth it to do on a healthy individual who otherwise is HIV positive, and like we're still years and years and years away from any sort of actual progress. And like I hear the same as well for oh shit, sorry,
I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna add on the Alzheimer's one as well. I keep hearing like they reverse Alzheimer's in mice, but like that's all I ever fucking hear is like they reversed Alzheimer's in mice.
Yeah.
I was going to say James Webb Space Telescope is insane. Like the fact that they were able to get it where they wanted it to be and make it work and stuff, and like all the stuff that it's seeing is super interesting and awesome. I think it's, I don't know, it probably gonna like revolutionize how some of like physics gets done and whatever, and science things and cool, man, and I don't know, math stuff,
Yeah.
whatever.
I only
Black
know
holes.
this thing in name alone, and I don't know what
Yeah.
it does.
I only know how to fart in a vacuum to the moon.
Yeah. Beyond that, I don't know. It's like I'm going to butcher this, but it's a telescope in space that is in a very specific spot where it can like see better, and it's infrared and whatever. So it sees things differently than like how Hubble does.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
I
we
wish
can
like
see like, you know, way back in time, essentially like hundreds of millions of years or whatever.
I wish for stuff like this I could say something more than just like, "Whoa, neato," because like I fundamentally like I understand like the barest minimum for most of the stuff,
Yeah.
and like I know I'm the one asking the question here, but at the same time I'm just like it's become extremely obvious. It's like, man, I don't pay enough attention to like technology advancements.
I mean,
Like-
as you can probably tell from the word salad coming out of my mouth, I'm in the same boat, but yeah.
The only answer I had was like a couple months ago, there were like articles written about some guys in Korea who had potentially discovered cold fusion in like some sort of laboratory environment, and people were like losing their shit over it. And then I haven't heard anything about it since.
The
So-
cynic in me was always thinking like, because isn't the result of that like really cheap infinite energy?
I don't think it's infinite. I think it's just extremely like a lot of energy that's generated very easily.
Yeah. So like the cynical part of me is just like, this is a threat to any sort of energy production company that'll potentially cut the cost of what we pay them every single goddamn month. So I don't know. There's just a part of me is just like, this is never going to go anywhere because people don't want it to go anywhere.
Yeah. Oh God.
Shit. Something very similar to Smitty, so I'll go real quick. I feel like I got two things confused. There were two things, or maybe one thing about semiconductors at like room temperature that came out recently too. I think it might have been also in South Korea. But one of the like hypothetical things around it was that you could basically use concrete as a battery. So like your house could like the foundation of your house could be a battery essentially. And like a super efficient one. So that was pretty cool, like hearing about it, but I don't know. There was like a ton of skepticism, and the paper wasn't super well written or something, or not peer reviewed when it came out, but everybody was still freaking out about it. I don't really know where that
Yeah,
went
that's
at this
interesting.
point, but still pretty cool to think about, I guess, if they ever figure it out.
You see it
There's
every once in
a-
a while.
There's that cynical part of me that's still just like Smitty, you were asking like what impressed you,
Mhm.
and like the James Webb Telescope thing. Like I know that's a really big deal, but there's that part of me is just like, oh, we already had a telescope that was out there, or like anytime we land like a new rover on Mars, I'm just like, oh, that I guess there's another one up there now.
Some
Like, I
things
don't
are
understand it
progressing
enough to
so
be impressed.
fast.
Right.
No, I feel like some things progress so fast it overshadows like how amazing the thing itself was already. Like I guess the shining example that I can think of is when we were in high school, Dave and I were in bands, and we like paid this dude a shit ton of money. I guess realistically thinking about it, probably wasn't a shit ton, but to us as broke high school kids, it was a shit ton to go and record at his studio with like all this like multi-$1,000 worth of equipment. And Dave had an iPad 1 and then got gifted something called an iRig microphone. And he plugged it in, and we're like, we don't have to go back to the recording studio. We could save so much money with this. And it blew my fucking mind. And we were sitting there thinking that this one little microphone attached to his iPad was like the best thing ever. And then like we both like acquired all this different like audio recording equipment. And then the shit that we're doing now, like it's like studio quality in your own home for the most part. And I guess I don't think I like really stopped to think about how fast that stuff accelerated and just how cool it is.
That's true.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, I think a lot of like the audio shit, like the iRig was supposed to be like the new exciting thing. Like, look, recording on the go, like that's fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, I've kind of just went back to like what was old because I'm just using like and to be fair, a USB interface like the one I'm using now, it's not new, it's not old either. But I mean, they've been around for a minute since USB A and USB B was a thing. But it's definitely older than like the iPad recording shit like that. So I guess I've regressed a little bit, but it works.
To throw it back too to like kind of that's pretty similar to with like all the Spotify and stuff that we're talking about. And then the other day I got a new vinyl album dropped off and I was like, holy shit, fuck yeah. Like it's just, you know, sometimes you kind of crave the older shit. I'm a boomer.
Well, like physical media in general, like so many companies are trying to phase any sort of like DVDs, Blu-rays, vinyls, all that stuff. They're trying to phase that stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
Because also when you have a subscription service or something that's only online or digital, like you don't own that stuff. So then companies can just give and take as they want. Cause like, you know, I was reading about, I think it was Disney. They had some movies on their streaming service and they edited those movies to like take a couple scenes out that were allegedly like objectionable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's wrong. I think that's very, very wrong to do. Like if a movie has objectionable parts, either don't have it on your streaming platform or, you know, be upfront with the content.
Yeah.
You know, don't take those scenes out and edit a piece of art to more easily fit your like what you're selling. That's fucked.
There was Disney Plus had like the old 1970s Muppets on their show or on their streaming platform. And I remember watching one of the episodes and it actually had a disclaimer at the beginning because I think they used the word retarded in their in the episode somewhere. And there was just a disclaimer at the beginning of the episode that said pretty much like things were different when this was recorded. This was an acceptable use of language. We do not believe that this is currently an acceptable use of language. And then that was pretty much it.
Yeah. I've seen them do, I think Warner Brothers did that for one of the Looney Tunes anthologies where a character was like in blackface or something and like explaining like this was a different time, but we think we should show this fully unedited as a means to not erase what history was.
Yeah.
Which
Right.
makes sense. But if you don't want to consume that stuff, like that's fine. Just don't edit it.
Right. Yeah, those creators were who they were,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of how we try to like get around that.
Yeah, literally a different time. And it's like in the same way, it's like this could be like a bigger conversation about like art versus the artist, right? Like art, there are lots of artists, filmmakers, directors, people who do like awful, heinous things and still, you know, contribute very positively to different art genres or movie, like cinema sort of fields and things. Like, for example, and I am not defending him, but Roman Polanski, a convicted rapist who did like Rosemary's Baby, which is considered like a foundational, important piece of film. You know, he's an awful human being, and at the same time, he's contributed very strongly in a very positive way to, you know, film history. So you kind of have to weigh that as well. And there's like authors who are pieces